Hello everyone, this is Turin here, and today guys, we're here with another Total War Warhammer live BattleCast. In this game, we're going to be playing Norsca, and we are facing off against the Greenskins. So we're going to be trying a bit of a different army composition. This is actually one of the first times I've used a very Famir-centric army. So in the front line, I do have two Famir warriors, the standard armor-piercing variant. So if he does decide to bring Black Orcs or anything of that ilk, they should do pretty well. And with 110 armor, I see them standing up against Biggins and Savage Orcs and all those guys pretty well. We do also have the Miststalkers. These guys are just the gangster version, but they do have stock, so my opponent's not going to see them till it's very late for them. We do have some Marauders in the front line because Famirs are obviously very expensive, and we did get the Soul Crusher too. So we're going very heavy metal in the front line. We do have Throg. I honestly think Throg's a very good choice against Greenskins. He's a good duelist. He's very mobile. Probably, I wonder how he'd do against Grimgor. I have a feeling he might actually win because he does have that regeneration and a lot more HP. But Soul Crusher should be pretty good at routing off, a lot of low-tier frontline troops for the, I was about to say for the Empire, but for the Greenskins. So we'll see how it goes. And for our mobile forces, we have one group of Skin Wolves and some Norscan Ice Wolves. So if he goes very heavily invest in Biggins and things like that, we're probably going to get a little overwhelmed on the mobile front. But regardless, with the Soul Crusher and, just that heavy front line, hopefully we can crush him down. But we don't have too much of the pressure of the back line. That's one of the things. I personally think one of the best ways to beat Norsca with the Greenskins is obviously having a good front line of Black Orcs and Biggins and things like that, but also you need that Goblin back line to really just take down mammoths. If you have like 3 Goblin Archers and the rest of the air shooting a mammoth, it goes down in no time. So we're going to put the Miststalkers right here in the center. We're going to put these two Famir warriors on the outside, and I'm really excited actually. I haven't really gotten a chance to try these guys out, but nonetheless, they should hold. I think they have good leadership. What is it, like 70? Yeah, 70 here and 60 here, so that's actually not that great, but they're very tanky. So we'll put the mammoth a little bit farther back. We do have the Skin Wolves right here. And the Brutes of the Hound, the Brutes of the Hound I actually wanted to put in the center there. So let's go ahead and take these guys out of a group real quick, and we want to degroup them completely. And then we just drag the Brutes of the Hound in the center, click our whole formation, and then we drag. And then the Brutes of the Hound are going to be in the dead middle. So the Armor Sundering combination should be pretty good because we're going to have Armor Sundering across the entire front line with our Famir warriors, and then mix in with our, our Marauders with their Enraged mechanic. Hopefully they'll do a little bit of good damage there. Cool, so good luck to my opponent. His army size is quite a bit bigger, so he's definitely going to have probably a ton of Savage Orcs and things like that. And, I foresee my Marauders just taking a beating, and my Famir warriors and my Mammoths just kind of like trying to clean everything up. But yeah, I really like Norsca. Quite a bit of fun, guys. They got these cool dudes right here. These guys have much better stats than their other Famir brothers. And what does he have in the front? So he has some skirmishers, which is pretty cool. So we can chase him with Skin Wolves. We'll put one group here. We'll put one group here, and then we'll start, making the long march. He does have Black Orcs and some Orc Boar Chariots, Goblin Rock Clobbers, some Goblin Big Bosses up on the high ground, and he does also have Azog. So Azog's definitely, he's probably pretty hyped for this game. So you guys need to get out there and chase. And then these other Skin Wolves need to go as well. And Throg can actually throw up on those guys and do some good work, but very well played by my opponent targeting my Berserkers. But the Skin Wolves, with regeneration, should be able to kind of just chase these guys off, and he'll kill a few Skin Wolves, or maybe 1 or 2, and might do some HP damage. But for the most part, we're not going to be taking damage to our core, which is what we really want to protect. So I can't see all of his infantry, obviously. He probably has like a huge Goblin horde, and he's just luring me into it right now. But you guys see the Skin Wolves taking a little bit of damage, so we can, do a little bit of, back kiting right now just to make some of those arrows miss, and then just kind of pull back. And, when he pressures again, that's when we re-engage. We don't need to constantly be just chasing them and taking arrows. And their HP right now should regenerate. So is there a condition to their regeneration? Let's go ahead and take a look. So no, it's just constant. Okay, so obviously fire damage is going to be good against them, but yeah, so he's coming back. So we'll just go ahead in there and chase again. And I wonder what he has aside from these. Oh, these are the Crimson Killet. So he probably has a Gobbo army actually with, how big? Oh yeah, 1,200 is pretty big. So he might just have like a fat Goblin horde. He could have some Orc Boars and other stuff hidden around the backside, but the Chariots will be okay in the front line. But with the Mammoths are really just going to massacre these Crimson Killers. Also, another thing to comment on, guys, is the reason I don't like to bring magic against the Greenskins, because they always bring Sneaky Steel in. So, I mean, in some situations, maybe I would, but here I just don't think it's worth it personally. So the long march is underway, guys. So these guys are going to collapse. Maybe we can get a little action here. But are these the Forest Goblin? They're not. So if we actually did catch them, we would have the Frostbite. But you can see he's working on the Berserkers, and yes, the floodgates are open. So he's got a pretty diversified front line there of all kinds of fun stuff. So let's get everyone ready to go. We'll go ahead and march these guys up here, these guys in the Black Orcs, and we do need to get the Famir warriors targeting the Black Orcs as well. So these guys can go after the Black Orcs, the Berserkers can take on the Nasty Skulkers, and Night Goblins can just be traded with by Marauders. So we're going to try and get in the back line now that we're relatively safe. And the Mammoth, we also want to just basically just stomp all over those Crimson Killers, because that's something with the splash damage that could do some heavy lifting. So Throg's coming in. We can go ahead and send him. We probably want to have Throg like just, in the fight anywhere really. We don't need to overthink that one too much. But the Mammoth needs to run. We need to get that thing power marching over there. And the Famir Warriors should do a really good job against those Black Orcs for sure. We do have this one group of Famir Warriors that we can send in against Night Goblins, which isn't ideal, but nonetheless it should be fine. So he does have a really good high ground position, so we're going to be taking a lot of fire. So coming around the back and pressuring is going to be very important here. You can see Fanatics coming in, but the Famir Warriors are going to get in there and start clubbing those guys. So it's going to be dual wield action, you know, going on across the board. So he does have some Night Goblins here, but we're going to sneak through with these Norscan Ice Wolves actually and see if we can get in there. So Throg can go ahead and cast these buffs here, and let's go ahead and push the Elephant up and through. We can have it attack for a second. Let's pop the ward save to make sure everything is going to plan. And we did get the Norscan Ice Wolves in the back, so we were collapsed on by some Night Goblins, but we just want to kind of you know, shut down that back line for as long as possible, and hopefully we can collapse his frontline troops. So the Berserkers were able to kind of break those Night Goblins, the nasty Skulkers, obviously a very good matchup. So let's get the Elephant kind of pushing through, and I do like his army composition actually. The Goblin Rock Lobbers would be one thing I might you know, not bring myself. But you can see the Crimson Killers are just getting, you know, put down pretty heavily. So we need to pull my Lord back. We definitely don't want him dying. That's something I've been very sloppy with lately. But you can see the Mammoth just pushing through right now. So we're just going to keep it on the rest of the airs because they do a ton of damage. Skin Wolves were able to finish off the Chariot on the far side and pin it down, which is great. So let's go ahead and get them in the back after the Goblin Rock Lobber. Throg's back online, so we can get him on Azag now. And we do have this Marauder Horde, which is in really good shape. So a lot of the Famir Warriors have pushed through, so we have them in the back line, just compromising a lot of my opponent's stuff. Nonetheless, let's see, where do we want to send these guys? We can actually have them go after Azag and Throg. Oh yeah, he's going to get frostbitten and just beaten into the ground now. This is actually going to be one of the determining factors of the game right here, I think. So great. So we are in the back line, having a good old jolly time. The Skin Wolves are in good shape. They're just kind of chewing on some of these Goblin Wolf Riders. In the front line engagement, those Marauders are actually seem to be performing pretty well. Come on, Throg, you need to stay on that guy. So Throg's he's chasing. These guys are still fighting. Yeah, 42 Goblins here, so that's totally fine. And Berserkers on the other side are just Marauders, actually. And he did get some Night Goblin Archers back online, so we want to kind of be pushing around, just pressuring from different angles to get some of these Berserkers going, and these guys can push down as well. So with the Frostbite, he shouldn't be able to get away. And these Famir Warriors here are just kind of collapsing on the back of the Warlords boys. Hopefully we can finish them off. Balance of Power is starting to come in my favor here. Throwing up on him is actually not worth it, but he's a very strong duelist, Throg. But you can see Azag's actually putting up a really good fight, surprisingly. And I don't think he has poison. But yeah, the Mammoth back here is kind of you know, chasing off a lot of these guys. So there's going to be constantly you know, Goblin Archers coming back and just, you know, menacing the lands. But let's get these guys kind of pushing and see if we can just finish off some of his elite units. But his Lord is finally starting to get put down. We do have Famir Warriors surrounding him, so he has like 0 armor almost. Yeah, like very, very low. Yeah, you saw that club right there. It was pretty impactful. So let's go ahead and push the rest of our troops back. Just kind of start trying to rout off as much as we can. We do have the enrage mechanic, so we are taking some missile fire. So let's see. The rest of the airs are online. So let's go ahead and just chase those guys down. I know it seems a little bit ridiculous to chase a bunch of goblins with a mammoth, but you know, it needs to be done sometimes. But I really like the Famir Warriors in the front line. Granted, I wanted to test that out against like the Black Orc Biggin synergy because I think that's the optimal front line against Norsca. But nonetheless, the goblins aren't bad. You get poison, you can kind of lock them down. You had good missile pressure and all kinds of other stuff, but it looks like that's going to be a mass shatter. So with Azag going down, I definitely think you have to go on a Wyvern against Norsca. Like having, oh man, these goblins are just not going to be happy about their fate here. But you know, having them on a Wyvern seems pretty good because you get the poison, you can cycle charge the Mammoth, you can obstruct it with your mass, you can simply retreat. There's a lot to be gained there, I think. So let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown here and see how things went. Famir Warriors were great in the front line. Again, he was probably expecting some Marauder champions and not a Famir Warrior front line. Although the nasty Skulkers with their armor piercing should be, you know, okay against the Famir Warriors, but still, I feel like they just kind of got bullied around by, you know, even by the Marauders. The Mammoth was good. He had an, you know, pretty good firing line there. I liked the Goblin Wolf Rider play. I would have liked to see the what's it called, the Regiments of Renown, the Mangy Marauders. That would have given you more, you know, AP to kind of, you know, then be more useful against some of my my Famir Warriors and Mammoths and things like that. But Berserkers really performed. They did some serious work. So definitely like mixing the Berserkers with the Famir Warriors. And you saw the Crimson Killers got like 9 kills. So that was a pretty heavy duty beatdown there. But again, very well played to my opponent, Better Non. Look forward to seeing you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that live battlecast. Alright guys, so that last battlecast was extremely short, so I decided to tack on an extra game for you guys. So this is actually going to be a showdown between Nitram, who's going to be playing Bretonia, and he's going to be facing off against Gotrek Gurnison, who's going to be playing Norsca with a very Famir-heavy army. So guys, the main point of this replay here is to showcase the Dwellers Below. So I know a lot of you guys were saying this ability is exponentially more powerful than it was before, and you guys were indeed correct. So as far as the army compositions, we have some Pegasus here, a very standard Bretonian army. A lot of foot squires, some peasants in the front to absorb the initial shock, which I like quite a bit. He's got some spears in the back, some bows, all that kind of good stuff. But you know, really the only thing that this replay is here to serve is the mighty Dwellers Below. So here it is, guys. 17 Winds of Magic. If you overcast it, I think it's like 24 or 25, and it does some work. So he does have King Lewin for his lord and some knight errants in the front. So clearly he's sending these knight errants up as bait. So this is something I've been running into a lot in ladder. Like people will send like Orion or someone who's relatively, Orion isn't expendable, but he's very tanky. So they'll either be expendable or tanky. They'll send them up, and everyone will be like, "Oh yes, free kills," and they'll swarm, and then the dwellers from below just comes and massacres them. So for the Norscan army, definitely a very strange composition, but you could tell he was having a little bit of fun. He brought a bunch of Famir. He's got some in the back. He's got the Miststalkers. He also has a Lore of Fire, and he's got some spears as well as Wolfric the Wanderer. So it's going to be fun, guys. He's got some Norscan hounds up in the top, the Beasts of Tashnar, which are anti-large. But guys, this is really kind of the focal point of everything here, and it's going to be a very quick one. You guys can probably tell by the timestamp up top, the end is nigh. So he sends in these knight errants right here, and if people weren't aware of the new power change of the dwellers below, you'd be like, wow, I'm just getting like 700, 800 gold here for free. Let's go ahead and take that. But he does overcast it. So guys, look at the HP of this. Just look at this. These are Famir warriors, a very tanky elite troop. And it does this to infantry, it does this to everything. So if you're able to catch someone blobbed like this, I mean, that's literally game over. You guys can see the balance of power up top shifting. I mean, that is heavy duty. Those are Famir warriors. They're not like light infantry. And those spearmen came in like about halfway through that, right? Give or take. They weren't in it initially. They came in at the end, and they're at like 40% of the HP. That is awesome. I'm really glad that like Lore of Life, has some different incentives now. And I don't think it's overpowered because that's an overcast. That's 25 winds of magic. And I mean, that was a blob. Most people are going to be very spread out, but the bait worked. I mean, it was the classic bait and switch. But it's really cool to see those like old school vortex abilities and different things like that. Really get the love they deserve. It almost makes me want to go try some other lores and see if like Lore of Heaven's got some buffs and different things like that. But regardless, guys, it was a very quick one there. Just kind of wanted to showcase the dwellers below, which is awesome. I'm actually look forward to using it in a lot of my replays. I was using it actually in some of my other games. You can see the Pegasus Knights coming in, and I did use it one game, a Wood Elf game. I'm not sure if it'll go up before or after this one, but I had it with Orion against like a blob of Chaos Warriors, and it did some strong damage. You can see it gets overcasted, not overcasted, but casted here again, and it's really just taking these guys apart. And the funny thing about it is it actually does have a slowing mechanic, so it actually like slows and drags them into the pits, which is pretty neat. So cool, let's see the breakdown. Most of the kills came from the dwellers, as you can see, but yeah, it was definitely some fun stuff. So thanks again to KnitRam. I think that was you that submitted that, so thanks again for sending it. And hey, GoTrek, thanks for taking that dwellers. It was I know it was a rough one, but I mean, I probably would have fell for that too. I would have jumped in there not expecting the power level to be so high, but it was quite a bit of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that live battlecast as well as that showcase of the dwellers below. And guys, definitely got more content coming soon.